Well, everyone, let's go and take a look at the Nintendo 3DS XL and see how this beautiful console holds up in 2025. Now, the thing I can definitely tell you about the Nintendo 3DS XL is that this is one of those types of devices that, in my personal opinion, still looks beautiful. It still looks so cool, and I still love being able to pick up this particular console and just kind of mess around with it sometimes, because I really do think that Nintendo did such a good job with this console when it first came out, and even now when I look at it compared against the Nintendo Switch, or even against the Nintendo Switch 2, I'm still such a big fan of this type of console. And like I said, clearly this thing is not as, maybe as powerful or as good in general as a Nintendo Switch or Switch 2, but I think this thing just has its own category. I think Nintendo did a great job with it, and anytime I get to make a video about this console, I just get so excited because it just shows that this thing just keeps holding the test of time, keeps standing the test of time, and it still is a really, really decent console when it comes down to it. Now, if you want to pick up maybe a Nintendo Switch or maybe some other consoles, I'll leave some of those linked down in the description so you can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. But anyways, when you look at the outside of this particular console, this is one of the key things to kind of keep in mind, because this kind of stemmed from the Nintendo DSi and the Nintendo 3DS. They combined the 3DS XL, or the DSi XL and the 3DS to make the 3DS XL. I do think this was a good idea. I liked it a lot, and in a lot of ways, I liked this console more than the standard 3DS. For one, I felt like it was just easier to kind of feel and hold. I like the texture of the 3DS XL. I liked it, like the texture on the outside of this console, more so than the glossiness on something like the 3DS. I think that one still looked great. I mean, that one looked beautiful. But I think I preferred something like a 3DS XL at that moment. It's not the biggest deal, but that was just one thing I kind of noticed there. On top of that, some other things that I did kind of look at here too was that with something like the 3DS XL, you were still getting a really good build quality inside of this type of console. So that was another really cool thing going on here too, because it still looked beautiful, it still felt very good, and I was still a massive fan of this console again when it came out. Now, when you have this little 3D slot like toggle thing on the side, I think that was okay, but some people probably didn't really use it that much. But I've always felt like, the 3D toggle was very much a gimmick. Looking back, Nintendo never really brought it back, but a lot of people didn't really think about it too much, mostly because of the eye strain that a lot of people could have gotten. So, including myself, I would feel sick and nauseous after turning on that toggle. But looking back, I don't really think even people stress on it that much because it was such a small feature and you could turn it off, which was actually very nice because the gaming library behind the 3DS XL was actually pretty impressive. And we'll get into that in a second. Now, the displays on this console are still honestly pretty interesting. The whole point of their XL lineup is for you to go through and get a bigger size console and a bigger size display. That is the main reason why they even have this XL lineup in general. And I do think that was a nice layout that they could have had. With this type of layout, you're still getting that bigger size display on the front, which is something I actually like a lot. I love being able to go through and get that type of layout because it still looks very good inside of this type of device. On the bottom half, this display was a little bit smaller, which I'm totally okay with. I still love having these types of smaller displays. They still look great. Beyond that, there's not really too much else to kind of think about here. I think with something like a Nintendo 3DS XL, the thing going on with this type of console is that the layout of it and the way it feels, I think still looks and feels really decent. The thing with this type of console is that the buttons still look and feel very good as well. Whenever I was going through and messing around with the buttons or feeling them or whatever, I was still actually getting a really good experience with this type of layout for the most part. So I did feel like that was another really nice thing going on here too. I love being able to go through and pick up these types of devices that are going to be giving me a good layout, and the buttons still feel clicky, the joystick itself still feels very good, and I did feel like that was another one of those really cool things going on for this type of device when it came down to it from that side as well. And then you get into the backside. The backside of this console was a flat back, nothing crazy, but you were basically getting this game cartridge. There was no Game Boy Advance card inside of this thing anymore. It was just that standard game cartridge on the top. This thing could play 3DS games and DS games as well. That was another really cool fixture inside of this type of console as well, that you were able to go through and get that type of layout once again. I love being able to go through and get that type of capability of basically getting increased, longevity with the games I can play. And that was another amazing thing that I had the capability of doing. Just straight up going inside of a device and being able to play a ton of different games like that is something that's so cool. I'm such a massive fan of that. And I just love having that type of capability. And you were basically getting that type of capability inside of this type of device. So that right there, I think, is another really cool thing going on for this type of device too, because you are getting the capability of playing a bunch of different games that way. So that is in and of itself, I think, another really cool advantage inside of this type of device too, and it definitely gets a thumbs up for me from that particular side as well. Now, on top of that, another very cool thing to kind of keep in mind here too is the games that you can play. There are so many games that you can play inside of this thing. Some of my favorite games that you can play are available on this. One of my favorite Zeldas, A Link Between Worlds, is available on this console. And that was easily probably one of my most favorite types of Zeldas that ever came out. These like 2D, 3D top-down games are like my favorite, and that was one of them. You also had Super Mario 3D Land inside of this console as well, which was another really cool advantage inside of this type of device too. So I genuinely loved being able to go through and buy this type of phone because that was another really cool thing and really, amazing game inside of this. You had Animal Crossing New Leaf as well, and Mario Kart 7, which was another really awesome game. There were so many different games that you can buy inside of this console that were really cool and that were really amazing, that really made this type of console stand out amongst a lot of other devices for the most part. That was another really cool thing going on for this type of device. And like I mentioned, I was a massive fan of this type of console when it came out from that particular side. So that side, it definitely got a thumbs up for me for sure. You were also getting a pretty good battery life inside of this console as well. Like this thing was pretty powerful from that side, had really decent battery life. And again, it wasn't necessarily perfect, but it really got the job done for the most part too. And I really did think that was another really cool advantage for this type of console as well. And I really did think that was another really big advantage for this type of console as well, because it wasn't the most expensive thing, but it was still giving you really good experiences and really good build quality and power when it came down to it from that side. So you had a lot of things going on here. There's also a lot of modding capability inside of this console as well. There's not a lot of insanity that you have to go through and kind of put in here, because it's not really going to be like the most insane, most expensive, most powerful console. So because of that, there's still going to be a lot of modding. You can really put and play anything you really want to in here, which is another cool advantage. And I will tell you, that's another really big advantage for this type of device when it comes down to it as well. So overall, what I can definitely tell you is that the Nintendo 3DS XL by far is probably one of my most favorite types of consoles out there. It's very, very affordable. It does not cost that much money at all. And, it's more affordable than you'd think, but it's still pretty pricey because these consoles have gone up in value quite a bit. But these things are still very beautiful. I love being able to go through and buy, a Nintendo 3DS XL. They're very good consoles, and if you're in the market, I would definitely recommend buying them. But at the same time, if you're looking for maybe a different type of device, there might be some better options out there. If you want to buy a Nintendo Switch, even a Switch Lite, I'd probably recommend buying a Switch Lite before you buy one of these types of consoles, just because the Switch Lite is going to be probably more of a, future-proofed console in a way, has more games. But I'm still a big fan of the 3DSs. I think they're great consoles, and I would still highly recommend buying them if you're in the market for them. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.